Hi everyone, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're looking at the latest UVI version of Synth Anthology. It's now at number 4. What is Synth Anthology? It's a massive bank of samples of original synthesizers, vintage and not so vintage, digital and analog, weird and classics, a bunch of them, a huge amount of them. Actually, if you want numbers, let's get down to numbers. They sampled more than 200 different synthesizers, hardware synthesizers, to have more than 4,000 layers of samples. So it's just huge. It's a huge, huge bank. But just that, you can say, well, others have done it before. Now, what's different is how they program them so you can actually play them. And what's really cool about it is the fact that it runs in 2 different systems, either Workstation, which is their synthesizer with this player that they have, the free player, or if you have Falcon, which is their high-end, really pro sampler playback. You can load all these banks inside it. If you don't have Falcon and you just buy Synth Anthology 4, you get the Workstation player. In my case, I'm running it in the Workstation. I'm just going to play the sound and use them. So let's actually go into this. Let's say we start with arpeggiator. That's always my favorite. Sound with movement. So the way it's laid out, you have this little interface where you have 2 sound you're playing. So you can have them in layer, one on top of the other. You see here the key range. So these are using the whole keys, and you get the volume of each of them. You can bring this one up if you want. Okay. You can also play with the balance between the 2. So you have the name of the instrument. So this is the Teenage Engineering OP1 that has been sampled. And this is the Roland D110. And you can easily just here change presets. Double click on this. A big list of keyboard sounds, for example. You can go, oh, I want a classic analog sound. You go keyboard, classic analog, modern analog. Okay, keyboard, you have these here. So FM, okay, this is the, and then you have the name of the other device. Now, if we go back to just loading a preset, this one here loads the whole thing, the 2 different patches. But what's interesting is if you click on it, you have access to synthesis. Now, this is not a recreation of the original sound. Let's say we go back to main. Main is this instrument, it's the Korg PS 3200. Of course, in main, you see just the selection of this one. If you go into A, you're looking at changing A, but you're actually changing the sampler values of the sample. So you're not actually changing the synthesis of the original synthesizer that has been sampled. It's been sampled, so it's fixed in time. So it gives you access to a lot of really rich, cool sounding original sound from the original devices that you don't have to learn. This is kind of the big plus, but you don't have the original synthesis. So I would say it's mostly for people who want to have quick access to a lot of really cool sounds that still want to do some edit, but that don't have time or wish to invest in learning how each of these devices work. You have other synthesis package where they recreate the original analog synthesizers, and that's really cool. I like it, but I know not everybody wants to learn all of these synthesizers and what they can do, each of them, and they all have little quirks, and so it takes more time and personal investment to understand all of them separately, especially some of these more unique ones. In this case, you just load a package, you have 2 sounds, you play with them, you can change here, or what you have is a suggestion of other sounds that fits in the same style. So in this type, grabbing. And what I'm playing is I've got the internal sequencer playing here. Okay, you've got the sequencer, you got the effects, you got B, and you got A. But what you can do, you get these little colors here. These shows you other sounds that could fit. So it's really quick to create these new sounds because you're layering two bunch of samples from two different devices really quickly. You have these controls here, and you have, I would say, classic stuff, envelope, amplitudes for filters. Here you get different type of filters. You can control pitch, octave, the color of it. So how does it sound colored by the other notes around it? Unison mode or not, the voices that you're going to use. So a lot of control here. And what you have at the bottom, which is interesting, you see here you've got LFO A, B, step 1, and step 2. And these can be assigned to about anything you have here. So you click here. Let's say you want this to control the filter. Bring the filter like this. So you click here and you say, I want to have some LFO A. I've got some mud wheel. Right away, you got LFOA. So really quick to adapt and control what you want. Sequencing is for the two of them or just one of them. Only A, only B, and you can have two separate. So A can be one. Let's say turn B off. And you get different. As played, up and down. And here you've got links and different controls, the mode. This is so complex what you can do. You can decide it's going to be the difference between the note that you're playing right now. Is it a chord? Is it bend? It's really a step sequencer. It's more than an arpeggiator. It's really a step sequencer. You can create here the gates, the panning, ramp up, and you can just decide what you want and just draw whatever you want. It's gonna see the chords coming in, and you can just move on the side if you find you can nudge it on before or after. And then you got effects, a bunch of really cool effects: spark, verb, convolver, dual delay, feedback, maximizer, equalizer, and drive. They all sound really nice. I mean, the UVI have been doing that for a lot of time, so it's not a surprise. And you have control over MPE. So if you have an MPE compatible controller, you can do that. If you find that 16 voices ask too much for your computer and you need less, you can just bring it down, and it bend how many semitone the pitch bend is going to affect it. sound. So I'm just going to let you listen to some of the really cool sound that comes with it. And remember that these sounds are just the beginning, because you can easily just say, I'm going to switch this here. So if I have my little like this one, you got an Oberheim Matrix 6, you got a Cobalt. If I bring just one side, just have the Matrix 6 sounds. And I used to own a Matrix 6, and that's really a nice sound. And this one has the arpeggiator on this one. That's it. You can also change the sound again. There's also another section here when you go machines. And you go, well, I want to have something from the, let's say, the Andromeda. So these have been sampled just from one device. Or the Casio, let's say. These are really cool to start a song. Again, these are triggering songs right away. So that's what the Synth Anthology 4 is all about. It's a really great way to have quick access to sounds, really good sound. Remember that I don't look at it as saying, oh, this is a good MS-20 sound or a good Andromeda sound. I look at it like you have a massive bank of samples from these great devices, but you also have a really great interface to play with full capacity of a soft synth. You have still in it. You have two great step sequencers. You have LFOs, you've got envelope filters, all that stuff to create the sound you want based on these samples. So it's really a great deal, and you need to learn just one, the interface that you're seeing. So you don't need to learn all of these other devices. You just can create really rapidly or have access to a really huge banks of sounds. And it's made to be inspiring. Select one and just play with it. It's a really good solution for anybody who wants to have quick access to great sounds really fast. That's it. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.